Welcome to the Forbes Podcast with Penny Forbes, where we have conversations to inspire, to educate, and empower. And we're so glad you're here. Today, we're so excited to have Jennifer Beasley on from Jennifer Beasley Insurance with Cooperators. And Jennifer is a dedicated insurance professional who's been doing this for almost 19 years. So that's amazing, helping individuals and families to protect what matters most, right? From home and auto to life and disability, critical illness insurance, and then protecting people's estate. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know really what inspired you to get into insurance, the industry that you're in now,
So
in the first place?
The very first place, it was just a job. To
Okay.
be honest, it was just I had a young son and I needed a full-time job, and I was living in Bolton and was just applying different places.
Yeah.
And so Keith Ellis, who's my predecessor, so he saw something in me.
Oh.
And I didn't know that I would enjoy it as much as I have. And at that time, like I was in my mid-20s. And so I thought, like, let's try this. And I just worked my way up. I started in auto, and I just kept learning all the other aspects of the business, the home, the commercial, the life, the critical illness. And then, so I worked 9 years with Keith, and then I took over. He kind of groomed me to take over. He saw that I would be amazing at it. About 2 years in, he said, "No, you're the one." So he groomed me to take over. And then of course, being in it, I realized how amazing it was to help people and even just save money, let alone the claim side. Because most of the time we can beat out competitors, but give better service too. So
you are my insurance advisor, so I can say that firsthand that you are amazing.
Thank
you. It matters and it makes a difference because it's really important, right? Like for the most part, people always consider home and auto, but people never really think about, I think because people get nervous or they don't want to think about being sick, right? Critical illness or disability or life. But I think of it as, life insurance and all of these protections are to protect you and your loved ones.
100%. Because you don't want to think about those awful things. But the great thing about getting life or disability, critical illness, it's one conversation that you have. Mm-hmm. And then a policy's in place, and you don't have to talk about it for years. So you can just be in the back of your mind that every time you hear a story, every time you hear something going on in a family, friend's life, oh my God, thank goodness that I've protected my family.
I know.
And then you don't have to, and then you continue on with your life. And
I think the thing too about insurance, again, is when the best time to get it mostly is when you have dependents, but also when you're young.
Yes.
But when we're young and in our 20s, that is the last thing that a 20-year-old usually is thinking about.
It's usually, honestly, the parents are the biggest advocate because they know. They've been around for a little while. They know the value of the peace of mind. But even a lot of people think that it's super expensive. It really doesn't have to be. And especially if you get it young, you can honestly pay $20, $30 a month and have $1 million of coverage.
Absolutely.
Like in a term plan, which I think is great. It's you're buying peace of mind. Because again, even with auto insurance, you hope nothing ever happens, but it's there in case it does. Same exact thing with life and disability.
And which we should, it's funny, we think, again, like everyone always never would not do their home, at least in Canada.
Yes.
And their auto for the most part. But again, it's the life disability that we put to the side. I think because the misconception that it's expensive when it's not. Yeah. And generally the majority of people, as you said, term insurance, which I still find a lot of people don't even know what that means. Can you explain to us what is a term insurance policy?
Yes, of course. So with the term insurance, so it is temporary insurance, but you're able to buy a whole lot more insurance because usually it's for a shorter period of time. It is temporary. So it's maybe covering a mortgage, maybe income replacement, that sort of thing. So which usually only means 20 years, 30 years, sometimes less. Like if income replacement, a lot of time it's for until your kids are a certain age, maybe 21. And but you can get a large amount of coverage. And again, usually for not too much. But key is to get it young, because when you need it when you're older, it can be quite pricey. But again, it's still there and it's still available if you need it when you're older as well. Because let's face it, a lot of us are having mortgages for a lot longer now because it's bigger properties.
Absolutely.
But the big key is to get it with a separate insurance company, not with the bank. The bank coverage is not good. One of the things that's interesting to note, so we pay out 97% of our claims for life insurance.
Yeah.
So there's always that little bit, and one of the things that people unfortunately lie when they're applying for insurance.
That 3%.
That 3%.
That's a low number, though.
It's still a low number,
yeah.
but we do all the underwriting up front, which is so important, whereas with the bank, they do it when you have a claim. And there's no way that you can explain or do other tests or anything to be able to say, no, that was fine. That heart murmur I had, it resolved itself. It's in your medical file. They're like, oh, well, you didn't disclose it when you took this policy, so we're not covering you. So a lot of the major banks, we had another advisor that came from a major bank.
Yeah.
And one of the major ones, 30% of claims are what they pay out. 30, because
that's
the underwriting.
That's astounding. I recommend to clients not to get what we call mortgage life insurance, which generally when you're getting a mortgage, you will try to be sold on that. And it makes sense that people want that, but the more effective way, cost-effective way to do it is through a term insurance policy, which is what Jennifer is saying here. But I understood it was as it's the first to pay out too, right? Yeah. And it's on a declining balance basis as well if you go with the bank.
It is.
So it's more expensive. As you said, they only pay out 30% of the time, which, wow.
Yeah, which is scary.
Which is scary because
scary.
That's not why you signed up for it. And if it's that much more expensive, you would think that it'd be some sort of benefit here.
Mm-hmm. And and I get it, you trust the banks.
Absolutely.
Because and a lot of people even invest with the banks because they trust them. They've been around for a long time. They obviously seem to know what they're doing. Yeah. But again, it's having that separate viewpoint. And with us, like, we're trained in life insurance. A lot of these bank advisors, they're not.
I know.
And it's just a couple of check marks that you're checking off for the underwriting process. And if you don't understand the millions of words that are on there, most people, you're signing 50 pages when you're doing a mortgage. It's just another page that you're checking off and signing, and you're not actually reading the fine print. There's actually a really great video. It's old on Marketplace, and it talks about how little are paid out. And there's a couple of people on there where they had a spouse pass away, and the bank denied their claims. Oh. And it's just really sad. Because that's not what you should be in it for. You should be in it for the claims, to be able to help those people.
Absolutely. And to be fair, just to make a point too, because I did work at a bank, I don't think people intentionally, everyone I think goes into their role trying to do their best.
Oh, for sure.
Sometimes I don't even think that they're potentially even trained to know, right? Like, I think everyone's doing their best, but I think as a consumer, we have to try to educate ourselves too, and to know what's the best route to take for us and our families, and understand, as you said, the fine terms.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the thing, they're not trained. Right. Whereas for us, like, we have to have a life license, and it takes quite a bit of training to be able to get that life license to give the proper advice that you're supposed to be giving. Yeah. And it's not, I don't blame any of the associates there, because they don't know. Mm-hmm. But I know there's quite a few mortgage brokers that I've worked with. Wow. And they can sell the life insurance, but they know to refer elsewhere because of the fact that they know it's just not as good as what they can give. Yeah. And again, I can usually get it at a much better price.
Which is great. Yeah. Which is great. Yeah. So I think that's a kind of a key takeaway. Make sure that you're protecting yourselves and your families, looking at these things, right? Like, it's never too late, I don't think, unless, again, if there's a sickness, but it's always better to do it when you're younger, because that is when it's the most cheapest, right?
And we all love to save money.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So that we can put it where we want. Yes. Now, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges and most rewarding parts of being a female entrepreneur and taking over this business? It's incredible.
So I found and I don't know if this is just from being female or not, but I found the trust was a little more hard-earned from the clients. Again, I don't have a perspective of a male to see, but when I was young taking over, because I was in my mid-30s when I took over the agency, I was worried that people would look at my youth as well and have that as a point against me. But to be honest, I actually had a lot of people love how young I was because they knew I would be around a long time.
Which matters.
Which
right?
matters. But the other thing too is it is a struggle because I'm family, 3 kids. Oh. And so being a mom and a wife, also being a daughter of parents that are aging, like there's a lot of other things that are pulling you in many different directions. So it is a struggle sometimes, but I do have an incredible support system. So that is very, very helpful. But I love also being a mom in this because my kids are so proud of the fact that their mom owns her own business.
Yeah, like that's amazing.
That's a big thing. And I only just hired my son part-time because he's in college right now. Aww. And I love to be able to even offer that to him, to give him this opportunity to see kind of a different side of the job force. And
that's great. He actually emailed me for my
for
review.
Your review. Yes, he did.
So I did see his name. That's great.
Yes, but I think that's amazing. So it's almost even more rewarding as a female entrepreneur to be able to like bring up your kids, and they're good kids, and then to be able to see them flourish, and then if I can bring them into the business, and if it's something that he enjoys, that'd be amazing. But my daughter too, she's only 13, but she wants to take over the business when she's older. Now, I don't know that she'll still feel that way in 5-10 years, but I think it's pretty incredible now at just that pride you have that she can see what you've done, what you've accomplished, and that she can do it too.
That's beautiful.
It is a male-dominated world. When we go to our national congress, it is majority men.
Still is, right?
It still is, but a lot of the females are winning awards, and a lot of the women are doing really fantastic things. So you realize that no, you can do it all.
You can do it too.
Really
you do need the right support system. Right?
That's key.
I do believe that. Key. And that's amazing though that you're able to do it all, right?
Yes.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
You make it look easy. I can't even I have 1 child. So 3 that's just it's a lot.
Yes.
Right? Just to keep
really
a household
is.
going.
Yeah. And it's I will say it's easier now that they're older.
Yeah.
It was more of a struggle when they were younger, and you're also driving to all the different events and that sort of thing. But now that, like my oldest, so he drives himself, so we don't have to worry about that. We actually don't even drive into work together because he's going here and there and everywhere. But I love that independence they have as well. So
it's great to see, isn't it?
It's
when
incredible.
Your kids grow up and they then become... I find like my daughter, I feel like is a mini me. Like they become, you're like, wow. But children, I think, learn too what they see.
Oh, 100%.
So it's amazing that they can see you doing that because that's a big way that they learn too, right? You can only say so much, but you've got to follow through.
No, they learn by actions.
They do.
They really, truly do. And I just love that I am able to do this. Now, again, the support system, so even Keith, like he helped me on that journey to get here. And if I didn't have even that support system, like he felt like a dad to me as well, and still does. We're actually still very close and we chat all the time. But like I have support from many different places, and that makes all the difference. My husband is amazing. So it's great.
That is great. Now, what are some common, like, so you're obviously in the business almost 19 years. I'm sure you see it all the time. What is the common mistake or mistakes that people make that you wish more people knew about? Like the message you want to get out that people, if they could just avoid this, they'd be better off.
Like one of the big things, and that's for all across the board, is lying on the application. It's just not worth it. Like, we're more likely to pay out claims than I think a lot of other companies. But we also, we ask maybe a little more detailed questions than some. But it makes a difference. And if you're lying on the application, like it doesn't help anybody. So being extremely truthful, but a couple of different kind of claims things is if you have like on your house insurance. So if you have somebody coming and working at your house, so you have a contractor doing electrical or whatever, making sure they have insurance is a huge thing. Because on most home insurance policies, we don't cover if they do a poor job or shoddy job. So we had one client where she had a roofer come in. I think she quoted a couple different places, and this one guy came in the least, but he was just some guy living in his mom's basement, had no insurance, did a bad job.
Oh, no.
And then she had a huge problem with water damage, and we don't cover if they do just a bad job. So making sure they have insurance. You can go after them is a huge thing. And it's very easy. They just provide a certificate.
Yeah, that's great advice.
Yeah, it's just a little thing, but what a difference it makes. And then understanding what you're buying. So I recommend to do reviews very often. Like you don't have, not necessarily once a year, but at least every couple of years, because you forget. I deal with it all the time.
On your policies.
I know,
on
your your home, auto, everything that you have. Review them with the professional because there's so many things that could change in your life that you might have forgotten to say, and you want to make sure you're properly protected. Like you might have finished your basement. You forgot to tell them. And then you have a claim. You're like, oh, it says you have an unfinished basement. Like you want to make sure that you have full and proper protection. So frequent reviews is a huge thing.
Beautiful.
That I'd say. And the last thing is thinking it won't happen to you, but knowing that it's just better to have something in place just in case. That peace of mind, as I said, a lot of these term policies can be only $20, $30. At least put something in place for the life insurance, because you just never know. Like your health can change on a dime. We've all seen it. We all have a family member.
It usually does change on a dime.
And it's not even
oblivious until.
Yes. Right. And it's not even necessarily that you can't work again, but your whole life will change. And you want to be able to give yourself time to be able to accept those changes. And if you have some extra money there, to be able to make changes on your house, to be able to take a good vacation, to whatever you need to do to get yourself back on track, and take time off work if you need to. So there's a lot of power in that, and that peace of mind. It will bring you so much happiness, because I've dealt with a lot of clients that had nothing, and it was really, really sad. So making sure you have something in place. Don't think it won't happen to you, because it's just, who knows, maybe karma. You have it in place and nothing will happen, and then.
Well, I think sometimes people think maybe if I do get it, that something bad's going to happen. But
I feel it's the opposite.
I agree. We're always better off to be prepared.
Yes. And to be honest, like if it alleviates stress, because we all know that stress can cause a lot of health issues. And if it alleviates that stress, that helps with our health. I know. So I believe in the exact opposite, that if you get it in place, you just breathe a sigh of relief. Every time you hear about something terrible, that your anxiety might kind of rise up, because we all know somebody that's had cancer, had a heart attack, had a stroke. We all know at least one person, and usually it's somebody close. I know. And what an amazing thing if they had more financial help. It would make their life easier.
It always does, right?
Yes.
That's for sure. Yes. That's for sure. That's great tips. Yeah. Now for home and auto, I think you've given us the home tip that everyone should know, right?
Yes.
What about for auto? What is there? Is there any essential tips people should be aware of?
Get a dash cam.
I fully true.
Get a dash cam. I think those are worth their weight in gold.
Really?
Because they're like, you just never want to be in a situation where it's all just he said, she said. You have proof of what happened. Sometimes it might be in your detriment, but for the most part, like, because some claims, like if somebody's doing so, and they're like, look, it's he said, she said, Was the light green? Was the light yellow? Did they turn first? Did you turn first? Nobody knows unless you have proof.
Right.
And then you don't want to have it as a 50-50 because that's still an at fault. So 50% at fault means you pay only half the deductible, but it's still an at fault, so it still affects your record. But if you have camera proof, what an amazing thing. And you can get them Canadian Tire. I think less than $100. They're not expensive. I think that's
great.
Yeah, a really, really big thing. On the home insurance, there's a lot of people don't necessarily read their renewals or read their policies. And again, I completely get that.
Yeah.
But on the renewals, a lot of time it'll say at the bottom that there are some things that limit the amount we will pay. So things like jewelry, things like bicycles, like there are limits. Most of the time it's on theft, but knowing what those limits are really, really important. And because, again, same thing, like you might have a wedding ring that might stay on your finger the whole time, but you still could lose it. And if it's now, like I've been married over 20 years, and so they appreciate quite a bit. So to sell it, not necessarily, but to replace it.
Really?
That's the big thing. So if you're going to buy another one, it can be quite expensive, especially if you want to get what you had before. Right? So selling it, maybe not a lot of people are looking to buy.
But if they're looking to replace.
If you're looking to replace, that's the key. And with our policies, so you're covered for $4,000 per piece to a maximum of $6,000 for jewelry. That doesn't go far a lot of the time. Like if you have a lot of like little pieces, they add up. And so making sure that they are scheduled separately. And then you can also have a separate deductible.
Yeah, and that you're aware of it. And artwork, I believe, that's a big one too, right?
Artwork, like furs and collections and things like that too. But the two biggest ones I see are jewelry and bicycles. Like especially if you're an avid biker, you can buy these like $10,000, $15,000 bikes, and they're incredible, but easy to steal.
So true.
So then wanting to make sure that you have the right coverage.
That is great.
Reviewing the limits is a really big thing.
Okay, love that.
Yeah.
Now, so life insurance and disability insurance and critical illness for that matter, we've really, I think, talked to them, but if we could kind of break them down like one by one and how they would support people. And I think because I was also in that world before, like I was in investment management, for example, for life insurance. Yes. When someone's loved one has passed away, I also don't think people realize, again, if you have term insurance policy, I believe it's just getting the death certificate, that policy can be paid out
very quickly.
Very quickly. Like it's an immediate cash injection. If you have individual accounts, these accounts get frozen, right? So there's a lot of benefit as well, even just from the cash liquidity when you're suffering from losing a loved one, to not have to think about that is huge. But so if we could break down, life and how it usually works, which I believe there's different terms that people generally select, disability and how that works. And if we can speak to, and I don't know if you guys do it or not, but regular disability insurance, and then for your own occupation.
Yes.
And then critical illness. Like just so people can kind of get a quick understanding, because I do believe that the terms often confuse people.
Oh, 100%. And again, it's one of those things where sometimes even I forget, because I've been in this world for so long and I know it very well, like the back of my hand, because I've been doing it.
Yeah.
And it's with the term insurance. So you can get, like with cooperators, you can get a minimum of a 10-year term all the way up to 30 years.
Okay.
And it goes in increments of 5. And we usually try and figure out what is the need, what are we covering, to find out how long you need it for. And if you have a 25-year mortgage and that's all you want to cover, then you can do a 25-year term. But what's great is, the premium stays level for that entire time. So if you pick a 30-year term, you know what your premium is for the next 30 years.
Which is amazing.
And that
doesn't increase.
Oh
right?
my God, it doesn't increase. It
Such
stays
a peace of
exactly
mind.
the same. But a 10-year term is less expensive because then it's only level for 10 years. But a lot of people only need it for 10. because maybe their kids are a bit older, or maybe they're almost paying off their mortgage. So we work with the client to find out what their needs are and make it fit for them. But with the life insurance payout, it's really fantastic because, it's usually paid out less than 2 weeks. Sometimes even less than 1 week, especially if the policy's been with us for quite a while.
Yeah.
So we just, need a death certificate, a claimant statement. Sometimes we might need a statement from the doctor, but like I've been through so many larger ones over 500,000, many, many small ones that are maybe only 25, and it doesn't matter. They're all paid out incredibly quickly. So
That's great.
That's the one wonderful thing, that when everybody else is looking for payment of something, paying for funeral, paying for taxes, paying for whatever, we're the only ones providing that money, providing that check. And it's really quite rewarding.
That would be.
It is. And a lot of people
To help,
say...
right? To help when someone needs it the most.
Horrible point in their lives, yes. And it's overwhelming, all the things you have to do. And we have some clients that say, well, you know what? I have a lot of rental properties. They'll just sell one to be able to cover what the expenses are. Well, the thing is, again, liquidity. How long does it take to sell it? And then when the closing is, and so now most likely you're going to try and do it as soon as possible. So you're going to take a hit. And is that what you want? Probably not.
No.
And even if they try and sell it quickly, you're still looking at minimum 30 days, if not 60 or 90.
Oh, absolutely.
But you need a lot of money now. And you might want to have your spouse or whatever, take time off of work to be able to deal with all this. Like, there's a lot of benefit for the fact that they can get the money so quick in their pocket.
Absolutely. Now, I would say, do you find that people underinsure themselves?
Yes.
Because I don't think people realize, again, for the cost that it is, I feel, and I had a client say this before too, when her husband passed away, she said, no one's ever complained or going to be upset that you got too much life insurance.
No.
It's such a peace of mind. And especially if you have a young family, like if this person was the main income earner, it's not just the mortgage, it's their income that they provided, it's the future income earning capacity, it's the kids going to school. They're generally, I would think that people are often understating the amount of insurance.
Yes.
Is that right?
And it does come down to affordability too,
True.
which I absolutely get.
Yeah.
But we try and paint a picture. We try and kind of go through and just let you see so if you did go down to a one income household, what would that look like? Would you have to move? Would you be able to afford the mortgage that you currently have, all the expenses you currently have on one income?
And could you still do that job if you're a single?
Oh my goodness. Parent. Yeah. Will you need to bring in added help? And so there's a lot of things that they don't necessarily think about and don't want to think about. And again, it is a difficult conversation, but it is a conversation you only usually have to have once. And then, so to be able to have more than enough to be able to protect you, then that's fantastic. And maybe that doesn't translate into a 30-year term, because maybe the 30-year term is a bit more expensive to have maybe the $1 million or $2 million that you need. But then, so you can get a little bit of a shorter term, but at least you get the right amount and you're not underinsuring. And then in a position where you have to figure some things out and change your kids' lives or your life significantly when you didn't have to.
Yeah.
So, but it is that affordability factor a lot of time that dictates it, which I understand.
Now, what about for disability?
So disability, so that one, it's a little bit easier for people to get the right amount of insurance, to be honest, because then you're just looking at how much you make and how much you qualify for. So a lot of people are actually a little bit more on top of getting the right insurance. To be honest, the life insurance, they don't think it'll happen, but life insurance, you're protecting somebody else. Disability, you're protecting yourself. And the other people in your house too, because you're still protecting your income.
That's right, replacing what you can't do while there's something wrong, which could be, can you tell us the common examples, right?
Yes.
The cancer, if you get diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah. So with the illness coverage, like disability illness, so the big three, cancer, heart attack, stroke, are the big three that can drastically change your life. But it can be something as like you lost a limb at work. It can be something like Parkinson's, dementia. Like there's a lot of different things that can happen that you just don't think will happen to you. But it is a possibility. I do see more people looking for the injury coverage for the disability, more contractors and that sort of thing. Sense. But what's amazing, our coverage, it's 24-hour coverage. So it does not just like if you broke your ankle while you're at work. Like we had one client that he was helping a buddy move. And so he was taking a couch down the ramp off of the truck, and he stepped down wrong and he shattered his ankle. Oh. So nothing to do with work, but then he couldn't do his job I think he was off for maybe 9 or 10 months. And the disability was an incredible help for him because he only had maybe a couple months worth in his emergency fund and like a TFSA. Amazing. So to be able to help him recover, and that was incredible. We had another client. It's actually kind of a funny story. Now, sadly, he didn't have coverage, but he was trying to look for it. But he was in his truck, moving some things around. He was taking it off his truck. And whatever happened, he ended up doing a Superman kind of out the back of his truck. I don't know if he tripped or what happened, but he said he literally had his arms out and he flew and he shattered his hip. Oh. And so he had to get a hip replacement, and he was only early 40s. So the doctor...
It creeps up on you, age. I'm noticing it.
Oh, my goodness. But these things, again, it won't happen to me. These are just fluke accidents that, you never think they will. But wouldn't it be amazing to have that peace of mind that if they did, you have time to recover? And a lot of people, when you're self-employed, you don't have any benefits through work. A lot of people that do have benefits through work don't have disability. They just have health and dental. Yeah. And so to be able to have that for all these 24-hour protection, again, it's that peace of mind. And usually you can pick different waiting periods for when you start getting the money. So you can pick a 0 day, which is the most expensive because you get coverage right away. Most people pick 30 days because they'd be okay for 30 days. And then start getting a payout. But you can actually pick like 112 days, which is the amount of time when EI you can get money from EI for those first, so it helps. But again, people don't realize how little EI pays out. Whereas for us, we pay out quite a bit more. And it is, for us, it is regular occupation, but it's reasonable occupation. So a lot of other companies with the regular occupation or just any occupation, they could be a Walmart greeter. And so then they don't qualify for disability, but we do reasonable occupation. So with your skills, with your education, with your background, it's not just any job you can get, but one that's similar to the one you have right now and that's paying the similar amount to the one you have right now. So that's a big difference.
That's a great benefit, which is sort of in line too with what I was saying with own occupation.
Yes.
Which I think would take it one step further. Yes. But it sounds similar.
So own occupation. So cooperatives doesn't offer that, but it is out there. And that's usually more for the doctors, lawyers,
dentists.
That if they can't have that specific occupation because of whatever, maybe something's happened to their hands or something like that, then it's a little more. Yeah.
If they could never work again in their job, it's saying the insurance would pay them out that disability, which is important for someone like that, versus if they could work at Walmart, it stops.
Exactly. And so again, it's understanding what you have, it's reading what you have, and doing those reviews regularly is really, really important. You can even, because same thing with if you get disability insurance with your mortgage through the bank, again, doing that review and understanding what you have, because a lot of those are any occupation.
Yeah, which again would probably be not the best because it's related to your mortgage. Better to do an individual policy. And then oftentimes I'll have, when I used to be doing financial planning for high net worth clients is what I used to do, they'd have disability insurance, but they're like, oh yeah, I have it through my work. And I'm like, well, that's great, but what if you're fired? What if you lose that job? Like, it's, again, better to have your own policy or at least a significant sum that you can take with you throughout your career, wherever you go. And you don't have to worry about being tied to a certain job that, again, what if it changes? Like, it's just important to have, I believe, your own policies that go with you wherever you go.
What? Well, I have one client, this couple, lovely, lovely people, and they had 3 young kids, and the husband and wife had looked into insurance 10 years before, but he had work benefits. So he said no, and his wife got coverage. But then, of course, a couple of years later, he ended up venturing out on his own and starting his own business. And he did an amazing job with that. But getting life insurance or disability in place was the back of their mind, because when you're starting out a new business, a lot of us know as entrepreneurs, it takes up everything. Like your entire brain function is all
your
about
brain
this
function,
business.
all your money, it's all in that.
Money. So you're not thinking about, oh, am I properly protected? Yeah. You really don't. That's kind of, oh, I'll get to that. That's kind of a checklist for later. And sadly enough, he was diagnosed with cancer. Oh. He had reached out to me to try and see if we could put something in place. By then, it's too late.
Yeah.
And I had looked, we had some, like you have those guaranteed issue insurance. Yeah. But a lot of those, again, reading the fine print, they don't pay out in the first 2 years. Or they don't pay out for pre-existing conditions. So there's a lot of things that you're like, oh, no, I'll get that. It won't actually cover you. And this poor family, 3 young kids, they were all very young, and he passed away within about 18 months. Oh. And they had no coverage for him. And also, so he had a good business, but I believe that, like, because he couldn't work to his full capacity for those last bit, his business wasn't worth as much to be able to sell, to be able to have some kind of a value. And it made a big impact. It was unfortunate, but had he just put something in place, what a difference for his life. But you have to realize that, with the work coverage, it has a place for sure, but to have something separate and with a third party,
it's very beneficial.
It's very, very beneficial. And again, that peace of mind, $20, $30.
I know. And it's great that you can, sometimes I find it hits home more when you're sharing examples.
Yes.
Right? None of us want that to happen, but you realize things happen.
Yeah. But it's those stories that you hear, and those stories that it sticks with you. Like that happened, I'm pretty sure it was over 10 years ago. And I'm never going to forget it. Like, because I tried so hard to help, and then you feel like you've let them down. But I couldn't do anything for them at that point. And even though you want to. So again, our health can change on a dime.
I know.
And while you're young and healthy, get it in place.
That's right. Because of the medical tests that are done too.
Yes.
Right? You're checking everything.
Exactly.
So it's good to do it while you're alive. And what about critical illness?
Yes. And critical illness, so it's not as widely known. It's getting there, but definitely not widely known as disability and life insurance. So it's not dependent on whether you can go back to work. It's whether something happened to you and you've survived it. So and again, same thing. So cancer, heart attack, stroke, top 3. With us, there's 26 covered conditions. So I can't list them all. There's quite a few.
It's a long list.
There's a long list. And then one of them is loss of the regular things that you can do, like your independent existence kind of coverage. So it will kind of be that catch-all for if it's some crazy 1 in a million something happens, but if you're not allowed to live independently, so you can't maybe get out of bed and feed yourself, or if you can't dress yourself and feed yourself, so it's 2 of the 6 living conditions, then you'd get a payout as well. So it doesn't have to be a specific condition. It can be something kind of
different, but you can't do your normal functions.
Exactly.
Two of the
two of the six general independent.
And for critical illness insurance, so if you're diagnosed with cancer, heart attack, stroke, that whatever that amount is, that's a lump sum.
Yes.
That is paid out.
Yes. So it's not, again, you don't have to be able to go back to work. It's just whether or not you had it. And you do have to survive 30 days is usually the minimum. Some of the different ones, like I know there's like brain tumor, coma. There's some different ones that you have to survive 90 days. But then you get this big lump sum. And a lot of the time with how our health system is right now, which it's incredible what medical marvels have come about, that if you have a heart attack, you can usually go back to work. The doctor will clear you within a month or two, which is amazing. But are you ready? Your whole life perspective has probably changed. And maybe you want some time. Maybe you don't want to be in that job anymore. Maybe you want to take 6 months off to like reinvent yourself because that job is what caused the stroke or heart attack because of the stress. So with you getting this lump sum, it's not disability where the doctor has to say you can't work. It's just, did you have a heart attack? You survived 30 days, fill out this paperwork, paid out.
Which is amazing. And two, sometimes I think for if someone's going through cancer or they want alternative treatments, again, this is a cash injection. So always something great.
Yeah, and something that our policies offer. So is this network of doctors that's from all over the world. Yeah. And they will review your case and find where the best treatment is. But they'll also give you a second opinion on what you've been diagnosed with. We have had it where some people, they've been diagnosed with whatever it is, cancer. They were about to go for chemo treatment. They're like, okay, let's do this second opinion because I have this, it used to be called
service.
Best Doctors, this service, and found out it was an autoimmune disorder. What? So they would have gone through chemo. They actually probably would have died from the chemo because it just the way that it was presented. And doctors are incredible. Like, I can't even imagine what they go through, the training they go through, but they can't all specialize in everything. And we don't all have it in GTA, Ontario. So this gives you kind of that access.
That's great.
It's amazing. And then again, as you said, a cash injection, because maybe the treatment would be in the US where they could help you right away. Whereas Canada, as we all know, our health system, sometimes there's a 6+ month wait for some things, but maybe you don't have 6+ months. Maybe you need something quicker and sooner, and you'd have this money to be able to do that and pay for treatment if you needed it to. Like, it's an incredible product.
That is great because I think our doctors and nurses, my mom was sick with cancer. She passed away in June for 13 years. So I'm very familiar with the system. It's terrible what people have to go through, but they are angels. They are angels on earth here helping to save people. So it's incredible what they do. But there were, in my mom's case, and there were mistakes made, but I think it's always most important to listen to yourself and to always get a second opinion.
And be an advocate for yourself.
Yeah, if you're not feeling right about anything that's told to you, I think it's always important to get another opinion.
For that peace of mind.
And the peace of mind.
Like, what a difference to be like, yep, this is an amazing doctor you have. They got it right on the money. And again, then that peace of mind, that stress relief helps you heal. Absolutely. Like, it's amazing. And the great thing too is that even though there's the 26 covered conditions, it doesn't have to be one of those conditions. You could be getting a knee replacement and you could use their services. And you can even use it for your parents. So just this service, not obviously the payout, but if you have a parent, so one of actually my employees, so she had the critical illness and she used that service for her mom. Because her mom was going through a lot of things medically, and she used that service to be able to get a second opinion. And again, it changed her life. So it's for yourself. I believe it's for your children, but it is for your parents as well. But it doesn't have to be one of the conditions on the
there.
critical illness that we pay out for, it can be something else.
That's
To
amazing.
use that second opinion. Now, of course, it's just somebody reviewing your file.
Mm-hmm.
So if they say, okay, like they'll even help you. So if, I don't know, you need to go to New York to get treatment, they'll help you arrange the hotel visit. They'll help you arrange like taxi service and everything. But of course, the cost for the hotel, cost for the taxi, cost for all that. So that you'd have to pay for separately, hopefully with the critical illness payout.
Yeah.
But so they don't cover those costs, but they help you plan it all. Again, peace of mind that you have this person that's on your side, and it's like a claims adjuster dedicated to help with your file. And worth its weight in gold, that alone.
That's
I
incredible.
believe. Yeah.
That's amazing that you're able to offer that. I love that. Now on to the personal reflections side of this interview. Is there a book or a podcast that changed your life that you're like, people need to know about this? And what did it teach you?
There's this one book, and it's more recent that I've read it, and it was a fellow colleague that had told me about it. It Takes What It Takes.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
But it's one of those where you're dealing with challenging circumstances. And again, as an entrepreneur, there's a lot of things going on. You want to keep your clients happy. There's things that you have to do. You want to keep your staff happy. But it's looking at failure and negativity, but as a positive, and then how to kind of have success from that, but just to kind of just stay calm about it all. And it's like a sports kind of mentorship as well. Like, so it applies to a lot of different things, but I did take a lot from it that, so it's like not to judge yourself. So it's kind of to think in just a different way, to not judge the fact that you've got a lot on your plate, that there's a lot of things that you need to accomplish in your job, but also your personal life as a daughter, as whatever. Like, there's a lot of things pulling us, especially when we're getting older. We have aging parents. And it allows you kind of feel a bit more calm about it all. And I found it really spoke to me. So I appreciate my my colleague John for suggesting to read that.
I thank you for sharing with us. I love reading and learning. You can take a tidbit from, right? Just something one little piece from anything that can help you with your life is great.
Yeah. And the thing is too, is that you'll always bring your own experiences into that book. So a lot of these books aren't specific to one thing, that it's a lot more generalized, but then when you're using your own experiences, you're like, oh, it just makes it so, and that clarity you get
so true
from reading it and understanding it and then applying it to your own life. Like, what a difference. And
I love that.
but that's, if we can all kind of acknowledge what's happened and, like, again, mistakes made in life or whatever, but acknowledge it, learn from it, be calm, forgive yourself, and move on, and it just, that kind of peace that it gives you. So I really, really enjoyed that book.
Yes. I love that. That's great. Now, for someone who's just listening and starting their financial journey, what's an inspiring message that you'd like to leave them with?
Yes. So even a little policy can make a huge difference. So again, if you're concerned about affordability, oh my goodness, just $100,000 policy.
Yeah.
Like, in a term, I kid you not, like something like that might even be like $8 a month. Like, but what a difference that
we can all
make.
afford.
We can all afford
not
that.
getting the $8 latte.
Yes. But the other thing too is that it's all about bundling. So we all talk, like, bundling your home and auto, and even with your commercial, like, there's a lot of savings there. But if you have a life insurance policy with cooperators, you get some discounts on the home and auto, and maybe some of those discounts will, like, especially if it is only $8, $9 a month, that could pay for the policy.
Yeah.
So then it could potentially be almost free for you, but then you get that peace of mind. And so if you're worried about affordability, getting just something in place will make a huge difference. And if nothing else, your peace of mind but there's something there for your family.
Which is everything.
So we had another story. We had a client, this was only just last summer.
Yeah.
The husband had passed away. It was cancer, but healthy, very healthy.
Yeah.
Even the doctors were shocked as to the fact that he got this cancer. And again, advocating for yourself, because the doctor's like, no, everything's fine. And he's like, no, there's something wrong here. So he kept pushing for more and more tests. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, they found the cancer. But it was too late to do anything. Now, they had a good policy in place. They had put it in before they obviously had found out the cancer diagnosis. But the policy had only been in place for 18 months. We paid it out in full because, of course, the diagnosis came out after, but he passed away pretty quickly. 2 young kids, and the one son thought that he would have to quit high school and get a job to help his family. And his mom was able to say to him, no, don't worry about that. We had something in place to make sure that you didn't have to worry about being the man of the house and having to protect it financially. Yeah. And oh my God, that tugged at my heartstrings that I was there to present that check to them, that they didn't have to worry. And, but to know that I was able to give even that child peace of mind that he really truly thought that he would have to do that, and to know that
that's incredible that you can do that. And one last thing I'd want to say too is, and because I come from I'm a single parent, so I have life insurance, but I have it because I have a dependent. I have my daughter, so always writing down too, who is your life insurance advisor, who is your investment advisor, having a list for someone, or even a spouse. If there's one spouse who takes care of everything and another spouse less involved, you've got to have somewhere written down all of these policies and things you have in place, because it is again, if you're reeling and you're struggling, you've just lost a loved one, you can't even think straight. So to have to try to remember or dig or find, where are these things?
Yes, I've had clients.
Make sure to write that down.
I've had clients where they didn't know. And again, for a parent, they had no idea where they banked. So they were literally spending days going to RBC, to CIBC, to Scotia. No. Does my mom have an account here? This is her information. And what an amazing relief it would be to have it all kind of laid out. So I do that for my husband because, again, of course, I take care of all the insurance, obviously. But for him, he has no clue as to all this because I take care of it all.
Right.
So I have a spreadsheet. I love Excel. And I update it every couple of years and send it to him just in case, because he might be lost. But at the same time, even just, your beneficiaries, knowing that there's a policy in place. If they're paying monthly, it's quite helpful because it's on the statement. But again, you need to know where they bank to be able to see that statement, because a lot of them, it's all digital now. And if you don't have the password into their computer, oh my goodness,
all these things
that you don't think about. And as you said, it's the worst situation you've ever been in. And especially if it's something sudden and you didn't have time to prepare, you need to help your family and know what to expect and prepare them for all these other things that they have to go through.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer. That was great conversation. So invaluable to have you here, and I really appreciate it. And to our listeners, if this sparked something in you today, if there's someone in your family, friends that you know who could benefit from hearing this podcast, please share it with them. Please like it. And thank you again.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's so great to have you on.
This is great.
And to our listeners, I hope that you can continue living with a grateful heart and to keep dreaming, keep believing, and holding that vision of what you want for your life. Thank you.